damn right.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Let's start the show, bro.
I'm here, g'day champions, how's it going? And welcome back to another Division 2 build video. Today, we're going to be revisiting one of my favorites. You thought regular run and gun builds were fun? What about running and gunning heroic content with directives and no skills active?
This will be no fun at all.
That's right champions, I've cheesed the game and I've deactivated both of my skills to prove that the gun and the build are legit.
He fucking cheated!
It's just far too easy to put any 6 red build together and bot walk around behind a shield claiming how good the gun or the gear is. I always go next level, so piss those skills off.
Hey, get off it, you dirty bastard. Fuck off, alright?
For those viewers that are still scratching their heads, this is my Chameleon striker build. I've covered this build a few times before, but I was asked recently if it was still a viable build in Title Update 22. Well, the proof is on the screen. The Chameleon got a nice little buff this update. It got an increase to its base weapon damage, and it got a reduction in the amount of stacks required to proc its weapon damage and its reload speed, making this gun even better, without needing to spec heavily into expertise. With this build and just a little bit of practice, you can have the Chameleon's buff active for the whole mission. Moving fast and clearing areas effectively is key to keep the 100% uptime of the Chameleon's buffs. This is definitely one of those builds that you want to have saved in your loadouts, as it's super easy to make and super easy to use, even without skills. But before the build, welcome back to all you amazing subscribers, and if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, make sure that you smash that subscribe button. If everyone can take a second to engage with the video, a like, a share, a comment, it's all going to help with the magic and the wizardry of the YouTube algorithm. I'm gonna do it. I'm setting another 200 like goal on this video. If we hit that goal, that would be absolutely amazing. If you do want to support me and the channel just a little bit further, we've also got channel memberships. Click the join button below to see all the perks. And if you want to catch me live in action, jump on over and drop a follow on Twitch. All the links for all my other socials are in the description below. Righto then champions, with all that said and done, let's get stuck in and check out this build. 5 reds, 2 blues, 1 skill tier, and we sit just over 1.1 million in armor. Now, this is the sweet spot for me. This is what I find comfortable to run and gun through heroic content with directives and no skills active. As you can see down the bottom here, we have disabled both of our skills. It's a really simple process to do. All that you need to do is equip one of the specialization specific skills and then swap to a different specialization. Do this a couple of times, then they'll be deactivated for you. As I said before, this build is very simple and straightforward, rocking 4 pieces of striker, Seska chest, and my favorite, the Memento backpack. This basic build setup can be used with any gun of preference, but for me, I love it with the Chameleon. For our specialization, we are going to use Gunner. It's one of my favorite to use when running and gunning. 10% armor on kill is very, very handy. Every 3rd reload is 50% faster. We're going to be replenishing ammo as we go, which means that we don't need to stop and restock as much. And our rate of fire is increased by 5% on kill for 5 seconds. For our primary weapon, we are using the exotic AR, the Chameleon. As I mentioned before, this did get a slight damage increase with the last update. Teamed up with Striker, the RPM is actually really good. It's got a decent mag size, but the optimal range is a little bit shit. We've got AR damage, damage to health, and you want to have that 3rd attribute as damage to targets out of cover. As you can see there, the stability is really good, it's just the accuracy is a little bit shit as well. The talent is called Adaptive Instincts. Hitting 30 headshots grants plus 20% crit hit chance and 50% crit hit damage for 45 seconds. Hitting 65 body shots grants plus 90% weapon damage for 45 seconds. And hitting 20 leg shots grants 150% reload speed for 45 seconds. buffs refresh when out of combat. What this means is if you clear an area fast enough, when you go into the next area, you don't need to build up stacks again. As long as you're not gun swapping as well, these buffs will also stay active. Honestly, I've run a dozen different missions and I've been able to keep a 100% uptime of the crit hit damage increase and the weapon damage increase. When running and gunning this way solo, it is very easy. Maybe in a 2-person team, still very easy. Probably not possible in a 4 stack. Just being honest. For your secondary and your pistol, it's player preference. Using some form of the ACS-12 as your secondary to get stacks for striker quickly is very handy. But, as I said before, once you start using the Chameleon, don't swap from it. Because even if those buffs are on hold and you have swapped guns, you're going to need to get those stacks again with the Chameleon. Righto, now for the gear on the build. First up, we're going to start with our mask, and it's our first of 4 pieces of Striker. Striker is going to give us 15% weapon handling. Weapon handling is a 1-for-1 stat of stability, accuracy, reload speed, and swap speed. Keep that in mind. The 3-piece bonus is 15% rate of fire, and the 4-piece is Striker's Gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, and this can stack 100 times. 1 stack's lost per second between 0 and 50 stacks, and 2 stacks per second between 50 and 100. As I said before, and I'm going to keep saying it, if you move through your content fast enough, you will keep majority of these stacks. For the core attributes, we've gone with armor, crit hit damage, and a crit hit chance mod. For our chest piece, we've gone with 1 piece of Seska for the crit hit chance. We've got weapon damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and a crit hit chance mod. The talent that I prefer to use here is Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, and this can stack 20 times. So that's a further 20% amplified damage on top of our Striker stacks. Now a lot of people are probably going to say, why not use the Striker chest piece so you can get up to 200 stacks? In my experience, for heroic content, if you're solo and in a team, most of the time you're not going to bank the most of 200 stacks. By the time you got there, the area is cleared. Obliterates some amazing damage, and it's really easy to get and to keep. For the holster, it's our second piece of Striker. We've gone with weapon damage and max crit hit damage. For the knee pads, it is Strikers as well. We've gone with weapon damage and crit hit damage. And the fourth and final piece of Strikers is our gloves, and again, guess what? Weapon damage, but we have crit hit chance. And the final item on the build is our backpack, and we are rocking my favorite, the Memento. It's going to give us weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier, and we've got another crit hit damage mod. The talent is called Kill Confirmed. Enemies you kill will drop trophies on death. Collecting the trophies provide both short-term and long-term buffs. Your short-term buffs scale with the amount of core attributes that you have on your build. So each trophy that we collect, our short-term buffs will be 25% extra weapon damage, 20% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency. Once we've collected 30 trophies, we get an additional 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen. As long as you're running, gunning, and not dying, you're gonna keep these stacks. Obviously, fast traveling to some areas will also refresh these, so keep that in mind. So that's the guns and the gear, and like I said before, if you're not comfortable with this balance of core attributes, swap and change them. It's completely fine. And remember, if you wanted a little bit more weapon damage out of the build, even after you've put another core blue on this, just expertise your gun. I've left this gun without expertise just to show that newer players have the option of using this build. Now normally this is a part where we'd say, what skills are we going to run? Well, guess what? We don't have any. Ta-da! It is going to be play preference, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with using a shield on your PvE builds. I just hate to see players though that just whip out the shield and bot walk around behind it. That's not what it's there for. If I was going to be using skills on this build, a shield and a striker drone would be my go-to. Righto champions, it's now that time, fine print time, let's check out our stats. 57% crit hit chance and 105% crit hit damage. Actually, now that we're here, we could probably afford to drop a little bit of crit hit chance on this. Because that first part of the Chameleon talent, once we land our headshots, we're going to get 20% extra crit hit chance. I wouldn't want to solely base our crit hit chance around proccing that, just in case we get in situations where we can't keep that 100% uptime. But currently as it stands, we're going to go past the crit hit chance cap and we're going to be sitting at 155% crit hit damage. For our all weapon damage, we are at 85% and we have 30% AR damage. Again, this is our stats without any expertise on the Chameleon. Once we proc the second part of the Chameleon and we get that extra weapon damage, we're going to have a whopping 205% weapon damage. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Chameleon. Then you've got all that extra damage from Obliterate and Strikers as well. There's a lot of damage going on. And just to round it off for the defensive stats, there you go, just over 1.1 million in armor, and we have 113k armor on kill. And also each memento trophy that we pick up will give us 20% bonus armor, which equates to about 220k. So that's the build, champions, one of my longtime favourite builds, my Chameleon Striker build. With the new buffs to the Chameleon, it's made it just a little bit better.
Just a little bit.
Running and gunning heroic content with as many directives or modifiers as you want, and just for a little bit more ego stroking, piss off your skills.
Bit of morning neck wanking.
Especially the shield if you're gonna bot walk around behind it. But seriously, at the end of the day, just have a lot of bloody fun. So what do you reckon? Are you gonna be a champion and have a crack at this build? What modifications would you make? Let me know down below. Thanks for tuning in, champions, and make sure that you show your support by smashing the like button on this video, and if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe. Everyone's support is always greatly appreciated. Remember to stay frosty, keep looting, shooting, and giving them hell. I really do hope to catch you all in the next one. I'm Plum out.